Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kristy Conway. I'm the Outreach and Prevention Coordinator for the Children's Advocacy Center. As you may or may not know, we cover the 19th Circuit, which includes Martin, Indian River, St. Lucie, and Okeechobee County. So we're excited to be on today. One of the first things we're going to do is introduce a person who's really well known here in St. Lucie County, who does a lot of work with children and really has a good message to bring about what St. Lucie County is doing with prevention efforts, with educating our children on skills and resources and how they can help protect themselves. And with the program that Mr. Singletary is involved in, it gives them a path to a brighter future. I know a little bit about the program. I've been involved in the past, but this is the go-to person when it comes to the Kids at Hope program here in St. Lucie County. This is Kevin Singletary. So I'm going to let you know that he's the project coordinator with the roundtable for the Kids at Home here in St. Lucie County. So, Mr. Singletary, thank you for being on with us today. It's a real pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you for inviting me and letting me be your first test subject.
Yes.
I'm honored. All jokes aside, I'm really honored to be here. And on behalf of our board of directors and Teresa Bishop of the Roundtable St. Lucie County, it's really a pleasure to be here to talk about Kids at Hope and the footprint it has in our community.
Absolutely. Everywhere I go and people I talk to, if they have a child in the St. Lucie County school system, they know exactly what this is. And I think it's been powerful, and it's been around for, how long has this program been around? It's not really a program though, is it, Mr. Singletary?
No, it's a strategic framework to change the mindset of people from labeling kids at risk to saying they're at hope. And when I say labeling kids, when we label people, we tend to put them in those proverbial boxes. And one of the things that the Kids at Hope it says, and we stand on this, that all children are capable of success, no exception. And that's why we work very hard to eliminate exceptionalities. Exceptionalities allows you to limit what a child can become and what a child can do. So Kids at Hope is really built on the Pygmalion effect, which says if you set the standard high, a child will come up and meet the standard. And so it came to St. Lucie County in about 2006, came to the school board. And from there, the founder of Kids at Hope is Rick Miller, a gentleman out of Phoenix, Arizona. But he did 13 years of research. And in his 13 years of research, he worked with delinquency counselors. He worked with people that specialize in social emotional learning. He worked with people from the Department of Juvenile Justice. He worked with college professors. He worked with social workers. And so there's been a lot of time and study putting into the outlining of Kids at Hope. So it's not a fly-by-night. What it really is, it's a community concept where if the community buys in, then the entire community can be better. And one of our slogans in Kids at Hope, you can't have a kid at hope unless you have a parent at hope.
Yes, that absolutely makes sense. So it incorporates the student, the child, the community, the school, the family. It's not just a one and done. It's a consistent process throughout the entire county and with all of our kids here in St. Lucie County.
And one of the things that happened was we've trained every public school in St. Lucie County has been trained, and we offer refresher trainings as well. And the reason I say for refresher trainings is because every year the Kids at Hope staff, we go out to Phoenix to the Masters Conference. So we get another tool to put in our tool bag. And we want to bring back every tool that we get and give to the county. And when I say county, not just the district, because in 2009, St. Lucie County was designated the first Kids at Hope County outside the state of Arizona, which means anyone working with children in any capacity needs to be trained in Kids at Hope. So we train faith-based groups, we've trained youth ministries, we'll go into synagogues, we'll go to mosques, we've trained coaches. One of the unique things that we've done, and I'm really proud of this, is we get an opportunity to train the school resource officers and deputies. We've trained the transportation staff at the school board. You would say, why would you want to train the transportation staff? Because they're the first adults that represent St. Lucie County Public Schools that your children encounter. We have kids on the bus as early as 5:30 in the morning. So this sets the standard for their day. So that's why it's imperative that anyone that interacts with children We train the coaches in Port St. Lucie at the rec center. So coaches that are being over kids, and what we're endeavoring to do now, we made a conscious effort to reach out to child development centers and early childhood development centers, because it's never too early to plant that seed of hope.
Absolutely. That's what I really, when I first heard about this, and worked with it personally myself, in the schools and in the county, is that when the entire community is on board, it's, we're all speaking the same language. And what I really enjoyed about this too is the pledge. There's a pledge I understand that the adults say, and then the children also pledge too. So when we have so many, not just the school system, and a lot of things that we run across are in the schools. We have, DARE programs, things like that are school specific. But what you're saying is this is a community wide, every level. When you talk about the different people you talked with, the Kids at Hope, the different organizations, all the way down to that initial contact with school personnel on the bus. This is really a community effort, not just a school effort.
Right. The 28 members of the Roundtable's executive board, and these are some of the top leaders in the county. We've made an effort to train all of them. So we're talking the CEO of the Children's Services Council, Sean Boyle. He's all in on Kids at Hope. And his program, they are the ones that fund all the youth programs in the county. So he and his staff is trained. We've trained the sheriff department, the executive group at the sheriff department. The other day, matter of fact, I saw the new appointed sheriff, and he said, Kevin, I want you to come back and train my executive committee. So it's a trickle down effect. If it can start at the top, then it sprinkles down to everybody beneath. So I think that's very important. The school superintendent, he's very, very pro Kids at Hope. We had the opportunity to go to a tunnel of hope for the new staff he hired this year. The first thing Dr. Prince says, this is a Kids at Hope county. And I love that. So that's coming from the school superintendent. You got the sheriff that's on board. You got your police chiefs that's on board. We have trained our local state representative. So that's why it's important. Now, you talked about the pledge. I want to share something about the pledge, which I think is very, very impactful and powerful, which I got to witness last October when we went to the conference. First is the Kids at Hope pledge. Why is the pledge important? Because it's positive affirmation that every child or every student starts his or her day. And the pledge simply says this: I am a kid at hope. I am talented, I am smart, and I'm capable for success. I have dreams for the future, and I will climb to reach those goals and dreams every day. So the students start out reciting the Kids at Hope pledge, and then the adults, and I'll talk about this a little later, they're ACEs, they're the treasure hunters, and we live on the treasure coast. So I think this is so applicable to what we need to do. Then the treasure hunter shares with the children what's his or her commitment, and it's simply this: as a treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talent, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exception. And by saying that, but the point of going back to the conference really quick, Kristy, is last October, we met a young lady. Her name is Sarah. Sarah is 28 years old. When Sarah was in middle school, her family came to school and picked her up and said, Sarah, we have bad news. Your mom has been in a horrible accident, and we want to take you to the hospital. When Sarah got to the hospital, she was told, Sarah, your mom's not going to make it. This is going to be your last conversation with your mother. If you're up to it, go in the room and say goodbye to your mom. Sarah walked in the room. Her mom was unconscious. She grabbed her by the hand, and she recited the Kids at Hope pledge to her mom. No. So when she came out of the room, her family asked, why did you say that? Because she said, I wanted my mom to know that I was going to be okay. Oh. And what I say in the trainings now, having met Sarah, she's 28, have kids of her own, and she works with you. She said the pledge gave her the strength to tell her mom, I know you're transitioning, but I'm going to be okay. So when the kids become one with the pledge, they see the beauty of positive affirmation. They see the beauty of I'm talented, smart, and capable of success, and that I have a future. So she wanted her mother to know, I'm going to be somebody in this world because what you've done and what this pledge means to me. So that's the power of the pledge.
That's powerful. And it is just seeing that what one thing I like is it's not in the moment, that this helps children see moving forward. Just the input that I've seen and the reaction I've seen is nobody talks about that. What are your plans? How are you going to get there? And it gives very direct ways of achieving their goals. So it makes me happy to hear that students are taking that to heart, and really it's setting a path for them for their futures, because we're in the moment, things are happening around them, for them to be able to see outside of that and what they're capable of doing, and have the confidence with the support of everybody here in the community, with the schools, with the agencies that are involved, that they can do this. That more than anything is powerful. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, which can be good or bad. And this is one of the good ones. Can you talk a little bit about what else happens in the community? One of the things that I really enjoy, and you mentioned briefly, is the Tunnels of Hope.
Right. At the beginning of the school year, or whenever the principals request it, mostly at the beginning of the school year, where we gather our community partners. The fire district comes out with the trucks, the sheriff department comes out, the police departments, the Fort Pierce PD, Port St. Lucie PD, our community partners, Boys and Girls Club. All of these entities come out, and we have signs, and we're cheering students on at the beginning of the school year. And we say things to them that you're talented, you got this, you're going to have your best year ever. And I can remember, and we were blessed this year, and I use the term blessed because the past school superintendent, he came to the first Tunnel of Hope with the new school superintendent. And I thought that spoke volumes. And then there were retired educators that were retired principals that was here when Kids in Hope started. They were at the first Tunnel of Hope because they were saying, this starts a precedent for the rest of the school year. And they saw how powerful the tunnels are, where adults come out and we get to yell and we get to scream and be a little silly and wave signs and give high fives and give hugs and fist bumps, and the kids eat it up. And what's surprising, though, Kristy, is like when you get to the middle school and the high school level, they're the tough ones, but they love it. Matter of fact, Dan McCarty is on record as having the largest Tunnel of Hope. There were over 100 plus community people that showed up for the students at Dan McCarty. So that's why we say Kids at Hope is more than a pledge. It's putting, as you said, putting some feet to what you believe, and the children and the students really enjoy that.
I do as well. When I see you guys out and about and still continuing this, because sometimes things come into our area and it's a great idea and it's great for its for as long as it lasts. But this continues to be a huge presence with our kids because of the positivity, where it takes kids, where it lets us as community members get involved in our kids and their future. I just have never seen anything like it. And I was thrilled to have you on to talk about this and let everybody know, if they don't know what this is. Mr. Singletary, how can somebody contact you if they wanted to find out more about this?
Yes. Well, first of all, my personal cell, which is my work number, is 772-979-1575. But as you stated earlier, I work for the Roundtable. So our website is the Roundtable is www.roundtable.slc.org. And the office number is 772-871-5880. Now, I had to really pull that in because I rarely ever call that number because we mostly use each other's cell phones. But I wanted to share one other thing about Kids at Hope and what the community does. It shows them ACEs. Now, we're not talking about adverse childhood experiences. Kids at Hope uses the 4 ACEs in the card deck. So the first ACE is the ACE of Heart, which is the anchor parent. And then there's the ACE of Club, which is the other caring adult. If you don't have children, you can't be an anchor parent. Or if you're not a guardian and takes care of a child 24 hours a day. But the other 3 ACEs, all adults in the community, we can become these. And that is to be an ACE of Clubs, which is the other caring adult in the child's life. And that simply means that children succeed when they have a meaningful and sustainable relationship with another caring adult. Then you can be an ACE of Spades, which is that adult that sets high expectations. Because if you look at a spade in the card deck, it has an apex. You're the one pointing that child high. And most of the time I use this particular story. They asked a guy once, why does he keep going to the top of Mount Everest? He said, I go down so I can bring other people up. See, an ACE understands I can come down to bring somebody else up. And then the last ace is the ace of diamonds, which is that adult that gives an opportunity for children to succeed. So I say, think about it in school. A teacher gives instruction, he or she lectures, but on Friday they have a what? They have a test. So you got to see whether you meet the mark. But those adults don't lower the standards. They help students come to that standard so they can meet the mark. And one of the studies that we found they did was interesting. They took children that was on accelerated track and put them on a remedial track. And they took the kids that were on a remedial track and put them on an accelerated track. Guess what happened? The kids that moved from the remedial track, accelerated track, they were able to advance at the accelerated rate. And the ones that were accelerated rate, they came down. So sometimes our expectations as adults, we don't have to lower the bar. Trust me, kids will come up and meet and exceed the bar.
Amazing. And that's powerful. Like we said, the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe they can, they believe it as well. Can you explain a little bit about when you say all children are capable of success? Because I know this comes up for somebody who may not be aware of what this is. And inevitably you get someone who says, well, this child has some physical limitations. This child may have some, disabilities. So how can we say that they can succeed? Can you talk about that?
Yes, I can. First of all, success is relative. Success for Kristy is not going to look like success for Kevin. And so when we look at that, we also have to take into consideration everybody's not going to make large gains at the same time. But when that child makes a gain, that needs to be recognized. That's one of the reasons at student-led conferences, every child is recognized. Sometimes we get caught up in just a GPA. And in Kids at Hope, our definition for smart is not your GPA. Our definition is, what do you have that the world needs? See, an ACE is able to help a child identify his or her talent and her giftings. Because, I talk about this in trainings, is every child is not going to go to college, but that don't mean that child cannot have a successful life. If your AC goes out at 12 midnight, I don't need the science professor at the college to come to my house. I need the guy that's certified in how to do air conditioning. Or if your drain backs up. See, there's a part for everybody to play. So I use the story of my two friends growing up. They were twins, Ronald and Donald. Donald was an average student, and Ronald, he really struggled. And Ronald actually got retained our senior year, which broke his heart. So he had to stay in school an extra year. But Ronald's gifting is his hands. Ronald has been a successful mechanic. He's been a successful businessman. He knows how to do wiring. He knows how to do car speakers. And Ronald discovered that my gift is not just reading. My gift is my hands. Mm-hmm. And so Ronald has used his hands to build a good life for him and his family.
Wonderful.
And Donald does what he does. So that's why all the time I say, we can't knock someone. What we need to encourage our students to do is use their gifting to better this world.
And that gift is the treasure that us as treasure hunters are seeking out in the kids that we face and run across day to day. So we all have a role. We all play a part in being one of the cards, being that ace for that child, recognizing their talents and encouraging them to move forward with it. You mentioned some of the community things you do. I believe you've got a community training coming up that people could attend and learn more about what this is.
Training coming up February the 6th. We're offering 2 sessions, a morning session and an afternoon. And the reason we do a morning and an afternoon, because I know some agencies have difficulties with staffing patterns. Mm-hmm. So we try to put it out well in advance so that they can work around their agency schedule to send their personnel. It will be located at the CSC building in their training room, which is 546 Northwest University Boulevard in Port St. Lucie, and the zip code is 34986. I gave you my number earlier. My email address is ksingletary@roundtableslc.org. Or as I said earlier, you can call 772-979-1575 and we can schedule you. It's also on our website, and we would love for as many people in the community, parents. You don't have to be in the professional ranks. We want to train parents, but if you work with children in any capacity and you have the time, February 6th, our morning session is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and our afternoon is 1:30 to 3:30. The training is a 2-hour training. We encompass a lot in that 2 hour, and trainings are interactive. They're engaging. I tell a few jokes. They go over sometimes. I'm saying that facetiously. But on a serious note, the trainings are interactive. They're engaging. And I believe we all can walk away with something.
I agree with you. I've been involved, and I support this 100%. And I'm really grateful for the work that you've done all these years with this and bringing it out there to the community members. It's powerful. You believe in it. I see it working. Everybody that's been involved has that same heart for it, because there's no way not to with what you bring here with this. Is there anything, and we'll provide everything as well that you have mentioned on our website, or follow up with this so that they can have access
Yeah.
to that?
Well, as you know, I think you were still with the agency when we started this. We do a collaboration with CSC. It's called More Than a Game, which we target fathers. But we're in the works of trying to do something with the mothers, and that announcement will come out soon. But that's been a very successful collaboration. We've used basketball as, I'll put it this way, the bait to get men to come. But we've done, I think, 3 or 4 cycles, and the dad said, I'm coming, if there's basketball or not. We use golf, we use a couple other different sports. But what it does, it gives fathers an opportunity, and I kind of call it barbershop talk. But in the course of it, I use the Nurturing Fathers curriculum, and I teach dads how to be aces. And that's what we really want, because you have children out there that don't have a father.
Yeah.
And I use myself, I'm very open, where my parents split when I was an infant. And my grandfather stood up and he carried the ball. And I say simply this: my dad might have fumbled. My grandfather and my grandmother picked it up, ran in for a touchdown. So there are children out there that don't have that positive adult male in their life. And this is one of the things about being at ACE Club, the guys that are coaching and teaching. And then we introduce fathers to the resources in the community that's available to them. So we had one dad, he was fighting for custody of his child, and we connected him with another nonprofit that specializes. And I would never say anything bad about the mother, but the father was actually in the best position to rear the child, and he was granted full custody. So now he has his son full time. And like I said, it's not about bad mouthing one parent or the other. It's let's do what's in the best interest of the child. So that's an example. And I've seen other guys that didn't have jobs get jobs and get connected with services. Maybe their child was on the spectrum and they know how about getting their child some help. So those are some of the things we've done with dad. And I have to say this, unfortunately, our county, most of the services in our county for the moms. Yeah. There are no shelters that would take a dad. If a dad right now found himself homeless or in need of a shelter, he would not find one in St. Lucie County. And so those are things down the road that we definitely need to address.
I kind of see how you work this. The invitation wasn't come see what resources we can offer you. It's come collaborate with other men who, mentorship basically will get some activity in with basketball, which may be the initial draw. They want something to do to get rid of some energy. And you behind the scenes implement and implant these different things and the needs they may have without being overtly obvious, because it is a different, I think, perspective with that. They don't have the same support with agencies. So, and I don't think they're open to seeking it out in any other way, but this way that you've developed to do that with the guys and the men, I think is important. And I like the fact that you don't just stop at one aspect of what you do. You continue to see what's happening out there, what the need is, who else can be involved in on what level, and you connect it and continue to do that. And I think that's huge. I think that's powerful. And we're still really appreciate it.
And we're really connecting with schools and after school programs to let them know some of the things that we do to help students look into their future. And you were talking about futuristic. And one of my favorite quotes from Helen Keller is, she was asked once, what is worse than being blind? And she said, to have sight, no vision. So that's why we do vision boards with the youth, because we do the 4 destinations of travel. It's called time travel. So we offer time travel activities. We want them to, it's not where you start, it's where you end up. And some of these kids have big dreams and aspirations. But see, when you understand becoming an ace, you don't become a dream killer or a dream stealer. You learn how to encourage, like you said, using the language of hope. So these are types of things, because children can have some far-fetched ideas that, our generation didn't think of, yes, but it can become a reality in theirs. And I always use like the smartphone. We used to watch, I think you and I had similar in age. We used to watch cartoons where Maxwell Smart used to talk on his phone. He was talking into his watch. Now everybody has one. But, we're talking, we won't date ourselves. We're still young. But, those are some of the cartoons that we grew up watching. But it became a reality during our lifetime. The Jetsons had flying cars. The prototypes for flying cars is already here. They just haven't perfected yet.
Yes.
So what our children and our grandchildren are going to witness. And I think for ACEs, I talk a lot about what kind of world are we going to leave our seed?
Yeah.
And so when we start talking time traveling, it's not just that we are going to move on one day. What's going to be available for them?
Yes. Yes. And that's so important to support their future needs. And the work we do here at the Advocacy Center as well, there's a big prevention program, because I do believe that it's easier to get young people on the right path rather than patch them up later and go back in and address the trauma. There's a famous quote that I live by, basically, and I'm so happy to have this role in prevention here. It's Desmond Tutu, who it's a fable, but just the gist of it is that basically there are people drowning. So a person comes up and is pulling people out of the water. And all of a sudden that person walks away and everybody is saying, where are you going? There's still people drowning. And that person says, I'm going to go upstream and find out why they're falling in. So to get ahead of it to where we can prevent that drowning, we can prevent that, the care that will come from that, the trauma of that. Let's just stop them from falling in. And the work that you're doing and continue to do and have done all along, it ties into that as well. So that's what we want to do, is feature our community partners who are supporting kids, their future, preventing them from being in traumatic situations, or giving them the tools to handle it quickly, efficiently, so that they don't grow up with these burdens and these traumas that can manifest themselves later. So we're so grateful to have you on board here in St. Lucie County doing the work you're doing. And on a side note, I want to talk about, and you can cut this if you want, but we have something similar. We have a lot in common, Mr. Singletary. We have known each other for a long time, and we're both from the South. So we have a lot to talk about. A lot of city folks do not know what we talk about or look at us funny when we're having conversations, because the Southern world is a different world and we're connected that way. So we have a really interesting way of addressing each other. Kevin and I are country cousins. So we, in conversations, if you see us in the community, if you see Mr. Singletary presenting at church, he will bring up the fact that he has, and I'm sure you can see the similarities that we look, almost exactly alike. So he is my country cousin and is addressed as CC when we're not doing super professional things like this.
and it's such a joy to have friendships like that, and you mean a lot to me. And I've always admired the work that you do, and that you stay true to who you are. And you're from Georgia and I'm from South Carolina, and I was stationed in Georgia when I was in the Army. And actually, if I ever leave Florida, I'd probably go to Georgia before I go to South Carolina, to be honest.
Really?
With you. And so yeah, now it's kind of our nicknames for each other, country cousins, because we can talk about a good bowl of grits, and we know something about some gravy and some biscuits.
That's it.
And I tell people this all the time. I love people, but I love my Southern people.
We're a special breed, aren't we? We're just a special little community of people that have that inside information. So when I run across somebody like that, I'm thrilled that we have that commonality.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Singletary, we're going to wrap it up. I'm so grateful that you were able to join us today. Are there any other announcements or anything else you want to finish up with?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the other thing is we offer Youth Leadership St. Lucie for teenagers. Any teen that's in public school, can be public, private, or homeschool. If they're interested in joining a group of young people from a diverse background of leaders through civic engagement, community service, and advocacy. And we're also moving towards being a coalition for drug-free St. Lucie. It's on our website. You can earn your community service hours, your opportunity to take on community projects. And when I say this, I'm saying this in all honesty, and Kristy can attest to this. Your voice is truly heard. And If you're a student of history, you'll see that a lot of the major changes that came in this country came from the youth. And I can honestly say that our board really listens to the voice of the youth when it comes to policy making decisions, because they want to hear how these policies are going to affect the next generation. So if you want your voice to be heard and respected, Youth Leadership St. Lucie is a great place. And we have the acronym HYPE, and it simply means helping young people pursue excellence. So that's also available for teens as well.
I like it. And that's another thing, staying modern, staying up with what's happening, because we don't have a connection to what's happening in the world of the youth unless we have them involved, and giving them the respect and the space to be able to speak on it. And I think that's an initiative that you guys started that has been huge. And I think to treat, like with the Kids at Hope thought process, treat these kids like leaders, and they become leaders. So I think that's important as well. And we're going to provide all the information, all the contact information for you and the website, so that they can connect with you and learn more about this. So thank you so much, Mr. Singletary, for being on with us today and sharing what this means to our county, our students, and to us as agencies. Grateful to have you, and thank you so much for the work that you continue to do here with our youth.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful weekend. And like we said, our doors are open. So if you call, we'll come.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. That was Mr. Singletary, Mr. Kevin Singletary, with the roundtable with the Kids at Hope project coordinator. I want to close with some things that we have going on here at the Advocacy Center. One of the first things we would like to do is let everybody know that we can have you come visit us. We would like for you to come tour the facility, learn more about what we do here, what it looks like, how you can help, how you can be a part of supporting our kids who've been through the process. You can come and tour and see and learn more about it. There's a couple of things we have coming up as far as announcements. Monday, we have a darkness to light training. There's just a couple of seats left for that. So you really want to get registered as quickly as possible so that you can have those seats. We're going to continue those throughout the year. They will be offered by Zoom. So if you do miss this one, there are some more trainings coming up, and we will let you know well ahead of time so that you can be a part of those. The prevention program here at the Children's Advocacy Center has been really busy. We're working with some different community partners, different schools, the Human Traffic Coalition. We've got involved with the YMCA of Martin County with their student base on prevention. Okeechobee, we're doing some work out there with the middle school. So there's exciting news to come. We're going to continue to keep you updated on what's happening here. And we do invite you to come by and take a look and meet with us so that you can learn more one-on-one. Thank you so much.